Well, good morning, Facebook land. It is early in the morning. Just dropped the first round of kiddos off to school and was driving home and I couldn't stop thinking about something. So I thought maybe I'd just go live and share a bit about it. So I titled this We're Being Lied To, because we're being lied to. And I'm 41 years old, almost 42, and I was really fortunate enough as a really young man to find some men in my life who weren't my father, actually, but some men in my life who cared enough about me to tell me the truth. A truth that I wasn't familiar with. I certainly had never experienced it or seen it, but they were really adamant about it, and I'm very grateful that they did and that they were. You see, I've got a lot of friends who are really struggling in their marriage right now, and I have some really, really close friends who are definitely struggling in their marriage, and it hurts. And what I find universally consistent is that we're all being lied to, especially with respect to our marriage relationships, but any relationship for that matter. But specific to our marriage, we're all, on some level, buying into a lie, and many of us are buying into a lie that we don't even know we're buying into. And that lie is selfishness. I hear all the time, I don't hear all the time, I hear often how when marriages are hurting, when relationships are hurting, I hear a comment like, we just fell out of love. I'm no longer in love with the person that I married. This isn't the same person, or some of that kind of language. And going back to when I was a young man, I didn't know what I didn't know then, and I feel like I was led in on the greatest secret of all time when it comes to relationships and marriage, and one that I've failed at many times. I want to be clear about that. I've been a terrible person at times, and certainly very, very guilty of being selfish. But here's the great lie. We get into marriage relationships believing in some way that our feelings and our emotions are the meat behind that, the substance behind that relationship. And that's really what the enemy wants you to believe. He wants you to live in a world of emotion, because emotion is fleeting. You know, that infatuation feeling when you first get married, or when you first find yourself in a relationship and it feels so warm and fuzzy and exciting. That's a fleeting emotion, folks. True love, this is the big secret, right? This is what Satan doesn't want you to know. This is what maybe no one's ever taught you, because no one taught me until I was right before I was getting married, actually. But true love in any form, especially in your marriage relationship, is a choice. I want to say that very, very clearly to you. If you find yourself struggling in your marriage or any relationship with people who are close to you, who at some point you would have claimed that you loved, I want you to hear my voice, and I want you to hear it clearly. True love, true lasting love is a choice. It is a choice that you make daily. And sometimes you have to make it minute by minute. And it's the hardest choice you'll ever make. Sometimes it's super easy, and sometimes it's the most difficult choice you could possibly make. But see, the difference is this world and Satan wants you to believe that love is this infatuation feeling, this warm fuzzy that we live in when you're first new in that relationship, and it's exciting and the pursuit is cool, and you can't wait to see that person, and you can't wait to be around that person, you can't wait to talk to that person. That's what love is. No. That's what infatuation is. That's those emotions in high overdrive, right? And I can assure you that is fleeting. And so what happens is people, once they get past, and sometimes it takes years, sometimes it takes a very short amount of time, but once they get past that initial honeymoon phase, that initial emotion phase, that initial warm fuzzy, they find themselves in a relationship and they don't know what to do. Because every relationship you have in life is hard. And the most difficult one you'll ever have is your marriage. And what people don't know or refuse to accept is that we have to fight and make choices every single day to love our spouse. And when I was 21 years old, 20 or 21 years old, I had two men that cared enough about me to tell me that, you're going to mess up, Quentin. Things are going to get hard for you. Your relationship with your wife will be the most difficult and the most biggest blessing you'll ever have at the same time. But the great secret to success in marriage is choice. You must choose to love your wife. You must choose to love your spouse. When things get bad, when relationships struggle, when arguments happen, fights happen, differences happen, when you start raising kids and you don't see eye to eye, when jobs get in the way, there's 1,000 things in relationships that make them hard. You have to choose to love your spouse. See, the world wants us to live in emotion, and Satan owns this world. And I hear my friends saying, in absolute and complete despair and pain, that this isn't the same person I fell in love with. And I'm constantly challenging them. It's the same person you have to choose to love, my friend. You have to choose to love. Because love is a choice, especially in your marriage. And I feel like that this world that we live in now revolves around selfishness, not selflessness. I think I could give you one word that would summarize a successful marriage, a successful relationship, and that one word would be selflessness, not selfishness. And we get caught. This isn't a lecture, man. I'm telling you what, I have been the most ridiculous, selfish turd in my relationship, in many of my relationships, 1 billion times. I was fortunate enough to have people who understood that they had to choose to love me through those things. So this isn't me talking at anybody, man. This is just me tired of the lie. I'm so tired of the lie that we live in this world of emotion that is fueled on selfishness, when true love that endures is based on the choice. A choice, an action that you actually control. You have full control over, and it is sometimes the most difficult thing you will choose to control, but it is the truth. Love is a choice, and you must choose to love your husband. You must choose to love your spouse, because there will be a million reasons for you to bail on emotion. But you have to choose to love. You have to choose to make that relationship everlasting. It's so easy to bail, man. This is the bail society that we live in. I'm tired of it, and I hurt from my friends. And I just want to grab them and shake them and tell them that I've been there. I've lived that life of selfishness. And I was fortunate enough to have a wife who chose to love me despite my selfishness. Just like I've chosen to love her despite her selfishness at times. We all do that. The great secret is choose to love your spouse. Don't give up on that relationship. Don't believe the lie that your kids will be happier if you two are apart because you just can't get along. That's not true. That is never true. Your kids will never be better apart. They are always better with you together in that house, choosing to love each other, choosing to love them. Emotions are almost always lies, man. They are Satan's playgrounds. He wants you to get amped up and emotional and selfish and make decisions that are solely based on you, instead of choosing to love for a greater good, for a higher calling, for a higher purpose. Love is a choice. Love is not an emotion. Love is not an infatuation. And those emotions and infatuations are fleeting. They will go away. I want you to be challenged and encouraged today. The truth is, love is a choice. Choose to love your spouse. That's what I've got.